There's a new comedy getting its series premiere tonight on Fox 2. Best Medicine follows an accomplished surgeon who moves to a small town and meets a whole host of characters. Fox's Ashley Dvorkin is catching up with the cast.
Everyone in favor of hiring the doctor?
On Fox's Best Medicine, Josh Charles stars as Dr. Martin Best, a Boston surgeon who moves to become the general practitioner of a quaint East Coast village, where his bedside manner doesn't go over well with the locals.
You're a real charmer, aren't you?
Co-stars include Abigail Spencer, Annie Potts, and Josh Segarra as Sheriff Mark.
He knows this town like the back of his hand, raised here, and loves very hard. And when you meet Mark, he just got dumped, and he's picking up the pieces. And little does Dr. Best know that he came into Sheriff Mark's life at the perfect time.
Viewers get to know all of the folks in town.
Every episode, you're going to get to go on a little journey. You're going to get to put puzzle pieces together.
There's plenty of comedy along the way.
If I read a script and it makes me laugh, I want to do it.
Well, they say laughter is the best medicine.
Absolutely.
So, safe to say you agree?
Absolutely. There's nothing better. It is the best medicine.
I feel like working in comedy, having that in your day-to-day can really provide you like a personal joy.
There's nothing better, especially with what we do. If I can bring out all the tools and we can achieve something good that day and we can feel like we did everything we wanted, you're going to feel accomplished that day. It's all little wins along the way.
The series films in upstate New York, where Segarra says they've had a blast in their downtime.
My three little guys are, my babes, 9, 6, and 3 years old. So we love the adventure, just taking it all in. And I mean, the food up there has been incredible. The people have been so warm and welcoming. And it's always fun to get to be in a new town.
I love knowing my neighbors.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
All right, so do you wash new clothes before you wear them? Social media is in the spin cycle over that question. The debate heated up after Martha Stewart posted online saying, while it may not be as essential as it once was, experts still recommend washing new clothes first. The reason? Chemicals, dyes, and germs that can linger from factories and shipping. But not everybody is buying it. Plenty of commentators say skipping the wash saves time, and they've been wearing new clothes straight from the store for years with no problems. We're not that delicate. It's okay if you can handle it. It's a personal choice. If you want to wash it, wash it. Don't judge people who don't.
Nice suit. I mean, we got the gray thing going there. Look at that, man.
I didn't wash it before I wore it.
You didn't wash it?
I'm joking. Oh. It's a joke.
You look clean. You look
very clean.
Very spiffy.
The suit is not washed.
Let's talk about what's
the
going
roads
on
are washed.
Yes, we did have some rain today, so it did get some of the salt off the roadways. Thankfully, numbers are above 32. We are not concerned about icing of the roadways. Still more areas of fog and drizzle tonight. And then look at this. 50 degrees Thursday, even warmer on Friday. Another good chance for rain Thursday night. How about a full check tonight at 10?
You're a popular guy come Thursday and Friday. Everyone's going to be smiling at you, right?
Spring.
Absolutely. Little hint of it. Thanks, Rich.
Love it.
Thanks for joining us for the news at 6. TMZ is next. We'll see you back here at 10, The Edge at 11, and The Pulse at 11:30. Have a good night. Yeah, you wash yours.
Hello, hello, hello. Happy Tuesday, everybody. 7 o'clock in the sports office at Fox 2. Me and my comrades, Greg Canner and Luderman, because we're going to talk Penn State basketball in a minute.
Do we have to?
Yes.
All right.
Because Ludy's here. When Ludy's here, we're going to go Pittsburgh. We're going to go Pennsylvania.
I love that.
But we're going to start the show tonight, which is this episode brought to you by Chevy Detroit. Together, let's drive. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. I'm a Chevy girl, baby. Woo! I'm a Chevy girl. Hey, and the auto show is coming up, so that's exciting. We always love when that hits Detroit because inside in January is the way it's meant to be. All right, so without further ado, we're going to bring in our guest tonight. He is none other than the fine Pistons beat writer for Freep.com, Omari Sankfora II. I was wondering, do you use the second?
I do use the second on first reference.
Thank
like
you.
AP style.
Thank you, AP style. I appreciate that very much. You are also the host of the Pistons Pulse podcast, which I have listened to before. I liked it. And I got to just ask you, what was the vibe like last night down there at LCA? Because watching that game, it really felt like this team knew that business was something they needed to take care of in a big way last night.
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. They went into the game with the date circled since the schedule came out. Obviously, probably still have some bitter feelings after the elimination last season where you feel like you could have beat them had you been a bit healthier or had 2 or 3 possessions shook out differently. So they had it circled, and they had something to prove. And over the course of the game, they pretty much just imposed their will. It was their biggest win of the season, 31 points. Cade, he was fantastic. I think he shot 11 for 17, 29 points, 13 assists. They're down 2 guys, 2 starters, and Jalen Duren and Tobias Harris. Their dog, Karis LeVert, who's been a reliable guy off the bench for them. And it was the second night of a back-to-back after they played in Cleveland the day before. And that was an impressive win as well. So really just taking care of business this weekend. That's what it was about. They were the number 1 team in the East. Knicks were number 2. And they've wanted that to continue to be the case after the fact. And they did what they needed to do.
Yeah, there are so many questions that I have and so many things that I'd love to talk to you about with this team because they are, it feels like things don't happen to you, they happen for you. Almost as if that loss to the Knicks last year was just the right tone, the right team for them to kind of set their path going into this season. They've grown up big time, have they not?
No, they've definitely grown up. I think you saw at times in the playoffs last year that the Knicks were just a little bit more seasoned, just a little bit more composed at the end of games when you just absolutely had to make a bucket. It was the Pistons' first time. There's some stuff you just don't know until you go through it. And I think to have to deal with a guy in Jalen Brunson who, he's one of the best 3 or 4 scorers in the NBA.
He was so good last year, in that series.
He just hit every ridiculous shot he needed to hit to close that thing out. Cat, a sweet shooting big, and they've struggled with stretch bigs in the past. They've got 2 big defenders and Oji Anunoby and Mikal Bridges they can throw at Cade. So, they've got a lot that just challenges you in a 7-game series. And I think the Pistons have come back and they're just stronger and more physical even than they were last year. And they were extremely physical last year. Now we're seeing that they're poised at the end of games. We see Cade being one of the top crunch time scorers in the league, along with Brunson, who also obviously did that for him last year. So you've seen just growth in a lot of different areas. And I think that Knicks series definitely played a part in that.
Yep.
Yeah, you talk about growth, and Jen and I were talking earlier today, and she has a stat, of course, that we were thinking back to. Just 2 years ago today, this team, they had lost 28 games in a row. They looked so bad. This has been one of the most amazing turnarounds in just 2 seasons. This has got to be so exciting for you to cover a team that has done this in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. So what's funny is that before the 14-win season, if you told me, hey, this would be a potential 55-win team in 3 years, I would think, I could probably see that. And then when they, declined to 14 wins, like, you don't know what to believe, because were they 14 wins bad? Probably not. but the record also is what it is, and you probably weren't seeing signs that this was trending in the right direction. So yeah, to go from 14 to 44 last year, and now you're on a 60-win pace. Yeah, I mean that's got to be one of the biggest 2-year turnarounds if they continue on this pace. It's been fun to witness. It's been fun to watch. I think the funny thing about winning and losing is that as a beat writer, your job kind of stays the same. Like you're still writing anyway. You're still going to practice. But you're not walking into sad locker rooms, two or three times a week. The energy's different. I think the games are more interesting. It's been fun. It feels like so much has happened, and we're only 36 games in, so there's still so much to go.
Well, and the storytelling, I've got to imagine, is so much more fun because there are some really good stories on this team. And as well, I mean, people are interested in reading it and seeing it and hearing it. And I know whenever we go out to LCA and we cover the team, people are always asking about it. And that building is full again. I mean, there's a real energy to this team. And I must be the president of the JB Bickerstaff fan club, but I know you love this guy. I mean, how different is it just to deal with a guy like JB who he has been to the wars, and he has dragged teams up from the bottom, and just he always stays the same, and he's such a quality dude to cover.
Yeah, I think JB is just best, with this franchise. I think he's best with the media, just top to bottom. He's clicked in a way that I think is pretty unique for a head coach. I think his energy, just his day-to-day approach was something that this team needed. They needed somebody who could kind of come in and motivate, establish a defense-first physical mentality, which this roster also plays into. I think, this roster just kind of naturally fits his preferred style of play, even more so than Cleveland did, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing Cleveland take a step back this year, but especially after the season they had 2 years ago, I think they really needed, somebody who was proven with young players and has several times taken younger teams and kind of molded them and turned them into something. So it just was a good fit for both sides, and obviously for this to be a second year in a row where you can make a case for Coach of the Year, it doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, really, he is Coach of the Year material.
A couple of years ago, you said it, Greg. I mean, there was real despair.
Oh, yeah.
With the Pistons.
3-31 on this date in 2024.
And it is. There's a whole new mojo, with this new Pistons team, and it's exciting. It's football's over, locally with the Lions, and now it's Pistons and Red Wings, and I think there's a huge basketball fever that's ready to steamroll and get even bigger as we get further into January and February.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah. I think Lions fans were more starved than Pistons fans. I'm sorry. Pistons fans were more starved than Lions fans.
That's right.
Because the Lions at least had, 2011, 2014, where, you've got teams that could potentially make noise, and, the Pistons hadn't really had anything. I think we saw it last year. People were just excited to be back in the building and have something to cheer for. And last night definitely felt like a playoff atmosphere. It kind of picked up where it left off from the playoffs last year.
I had a question. This is something I've been thinking about. So we are, if I'm not mistaken, February 5th is the trade deadline. Is that the case? Mm-hmm. So many people, there's a lot of talk about, do the Pistons pick up this guy or that guy? My fear is, do you want to do anything at this point to mess up the chemistry? This team has built itself. They are so deep now that they can lose or not have the guys available even last night on a back-to-back and still win by 30 over the Knicks. This team seems set. Is there anything out there that you can think of that they would need as they get closer to playoff time?
They can use some shooting. They don't shoot the ball super well. They don't hit a lot of threes relative to the rest of the league, and they kind of make up for it by forcing turnovers and just getting inside. But they could improve in that area. They could use another guy like Duncan Robinson, where that's kind of just all that they do. But beyond that, they don't feel like a team that's going to go in and make a big move, and like you said, try to shake things up, because you don't need to shake things up. You're 27-9, and you've been patient through this process, and you've been rewarded for that. So one thing Trajan said a few times is, he feels like this group's earned the right to compete and show what they could do. And you've got some young guys who are auditioning for their next deals, who have played big roles for this team. You're going to have to figure out Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren this summer, and potentially Asar Thompson as well. So, I don't think they want to make a move to disrupt what's already been going on. They can just ride this out. They're ahead of schedule, kind of playing with house money. So, you can afford to see where this goes and then make some of those judgment calls over the summer.
It really is an interesting dynamic because after the game last night, we heard Isaiah Stewart say, this was just one game. This doesn't mean anything. We're more focused on the next one. And it really seems like they're saying all the right things. How sustainable, obviously they've got the right mentality, but how sustainable is kind of this clip that they're going at right now, in your opinion, Omari? Do you see them finishing the season as the number one seed in the East? Obviously we can look to and say, assuredly, they will have home court advantage in the postseason.
Yeah, at this point, they've got a 3.5 game lead on Boston. They've got a 4-game lead on the Knicks. That lead's just continued to get bigger. Those teams haven't really threatened yet. You have teams that are getting hot. Philly's been playing a lot better. I think Atlanta, after they trade Trae Young, will probably be in that mix of teams gunning for the top spot, which is crazy. And the conference is talented. You may see teams try to make a move to jump the Pistons, but the bottom line is even if they fall short of their 60-win pace, you're still probably finishing somewhere in the mid 50s. Even just with a mild step back for whatever reason, if that happens. So. You're probably top 2, if you continue the current pace. There's still a lot of season left, so you kind of have to knock on wood. But like you said, it's at the very least you're getting home court advantage, but you're on a completely different trajectory compared to the rest of the East at this point.
It really is. All right, before we let you go, just 2 final questions here. Give me one thing that has surprised you the most about this team this season.
They've been a lot better offensively than I would have guessed, especially if you had told me before the season that Jaden Ivey, would get hurt again and then, miss camp and have his debut delayed. I think coming in, they were stronger on defense than offense last season. And then you lose Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley. And they took, I went back and did the math. They took at least half of their total three-pointers last year. It might have been closer to 60-70%, which is just a lot of three-pointers to replace. The guys
half of those were Beasley.
Half of those were Beasley alone, right? And he had, one of the greatest three-point shooting seasons of all time. Yeah. So, it's tough to project. They're 7 or 8 overall in offense right now. So I did not have them being a top 10 offense, and I think that speaks to Cade, really. Just being one of the best playmakers, best scorers. Defense has been good. And they've defended at such a high level that I think that's allowed them to fuel their offense a bit too. But I don't know. I was not sure if they would be a top 10 offense this season. So that's caught me off guard.
Cade is hitting some crazy baskets. That one last night, that dribble drive where he was falling off balance and hit it off glass. It's just unbelievable. Final question, maybe if you can do this in 20 or 30 seconds. Who is the most improved player from last year to this year, and why?
Jalen Duren, for him to go to about 18 points. I think his previous high was maybe 11 at that point. And he was more so just alley-oop rim run type big. Now he's knocking down jumpers, and he has dribble drives to the rim. Past other centers. Still rebounding at a high level, and his defense I think has gotten better too. So I think he got better as last year went on, and he clearly kind of took that experience and worked hard last summer, and he's doing stuff he's never done before. So there's a lot of guys playing on a different level this season compared to last year across the league, but I do think he'll end up being in that most improved category because he's a big reason why they're obviously 27-9 right now.
Yeah, hunger hits different when you have a bite of the steak and you can't finish it like they did last year in the first round, right? Thank you, Omari. Thank you.
Top job.
Outstanding. I will see you down at LCA soon now that Lions season has ended. All of the beat writers always tease me. They're like, okay, now you're here. But I have been to a couple of games, but I'll be there more often. Thank you so much for your time. Anything you want to promote? Quick, read a bit, freak.com.
Yeah, read me at freak.com. Follow podcast, The Pistons Post, wherever you listen to the podcast. That's with my co-host, Bryce Simon, and we try to record once a week, so lots to talk about.
Wonderful. Thanks for joining us. Hopefully we'll have you again soon as we head down the road to the playoffs. All right. Thank you to Omari. And, of course, this episode of The Sports Office brought to you by Chevy Detroit. Together, let's drive. Visit ChevyDetroit.com. We'll be back on the other side of the break with your Zoom calls. Stick with us on The Sports Office. And welcome back to the Sports Office. Jennifer Hammond with Rich Luderman. Yeah, do it, Lee. I wanted the music. I wanted the music, and I got it.
I do music.
And Canner. Hey, wait. So Canner, we know that Luderman is a Penn State grad and fan.
Yes.
We'll talk Maryland when Michigan goes there and trounces
them. We don't need to talk.
them.
Yeah, we're awful.
Wait, didn't they already beat them?
Michigan already crushed them.
That's right.
Michigan State will crush them soon too.
Okay.
Yeah. Off year.
Your Penn State Nittany Lions, though, have played fairly well in the past against Michigan.
You know, traditionally they're not a basketball, school. I mean, Maryland, you've had some great years historically. Penn State, I mean, their great years in basketball are few and far between.
Right.
It just is what it is. I mean there was a Sweet 16.
I kind of remember
years ago.
Shrewsbury,
before
he started trying to attack referees at Notre Dame.
That was a while ago.
Oh my God.
That was a while ago.
That was bananas.
Yeah. But like Big Ten football, Big Ten basketball is tough. It's tough, whether it's Wisconsin or Indiana it's tough. So
and even on the road at Penn State, because Michigan right now playing Penn State, it's 12-12 in the under 12 timeout in the first half. Michigan not scoring there's something about that building at Penn State because it's dead. There's nothing there.
Yeah.
And it's like cavernous. It just feels, and so when teams go in there,
that it's difficult. You think
it's difficult for teams to go on the road there because there's no atmosphere really, unless you were having that 1 year.
Do they do the whiteouts there like they do for the football games?
Boy, they haven't had a big basketball game there in a while. I mean, here they're playing the number
Come
2 team in the country.
You don't need to sneak in quietly, sorry.
So we'll see what happens. I mean, it's close so far, the game, but they're playing the number 2 team. That's Michigan in the country.
We'll see.
Dude, Michigan's beating everybody by 30. So, stay close. You take that as a win.
I was going to say, if they don't put up 100 tonight, that's sometimes a victory.
Maryland was beating Michigan at halftime in their game. I took that as a win, considering how bad we are
All
this
right,
year.
I like that. You can just end the game right at the half.
Michigan and Michigan State very hot. I mean, they're off to great
couldn't get the
starts.
power
Yeah.
outage.
You know what? I will say that March is, other than, gosh, I think I say every season is my favorite season when we're in it, but March is my favorite month for sports. March into April with that sweet spot where you hit the end of the college basketball season, then you go to the Big Ten tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Then you go into the NCAA tournament, which is a blast.
And I go to Vegas.
You go to Vegas. I go on the road with maybe a Final Four team this year, which the Big Ten tournament's in Chicago, the Final Four's in Indianapolis. So these teams will travel well, right? Michigan fans, Michigan State fans. And there's a huge basketball game coming up January 20th, right around the corner. It's going to be a Friday night, 8:30 in East Lansing.
30th.
It's the 30th?
Yeah, January 30th.
Is that a Monday? I mean, a Friday?
Friday night.
We're looking at the
Oh, sorry,
calendar.
Friday the 30th.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's not even on the board. Oh, yes, it is. Friday the 30th. Oh, thank you, Kenny. Your eyes are better than mine. I'm committing it to memory. Friday the 30th, though, that Michigan State hosts Michigan for the first time. Yeah. If you don't think Tom Izzo's going to have his team ready to try to, thwack Dusty May, it's going to be a great game.
Both teams are so good this year. Michigan obviously is far and away the best team in the country, and I've seen no evidence otherwise yet, that those are going to be huge games. The Big Ten tournament they could play again. And Michigan State, because Izzo has his way, could easily find themselves in the Elite Eight or Final Four. Michigan as well. This could be a very special season college basketball-wise around here. And
I love
so
it.
close with teams, with them being probably top 10, top 15, they're going to play a lot of their tournament games in this area, the regional.
Right.
Yeah.
And we're not even that far away from, when is the Final Four's here in what, 27? There's a Final Four
so.
here.
Yes. That's
In
not
the blink
far
of an
away.
eye, college basketball fans in the state of Michigan. And I went to Western, so I don't ever have a dog in the fight, per se. It's been a long time since my Broncos have made it to the NCAA tournament. But I will say that I absolutely love watching the state of Michigan show out come March.
Yeah.
Big Ten. I mean, I would say Big Ten,
Yeah, Big Ten basketball
is huge. And, with the Final Four being close in Chicago, the Big Ten, it's a great year for Big Ten basketball.
Yeah, I mean,
And they could use a national champion.
That would be exciting.
Because technically, my Maryland Terps won it in 2002. They weren't Big Ten at the time, but the last
that
one
the
before,
last?
the last real one was 2000 with Michigan State. No Big Ten team has won a national title
since then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
Be
Thank you,
26
Canner,
years.
for waking me up, enlightening me. Do I have a break to hit at
We
22?
do.
All right, I'm going to hit the break. Hey, we've got the Zoom meeting ID up here, down here on the thing. So zoom on in. Zoom on in. Oops, my music is fading me out. We're going to go to the break, come back. Hopefully you'll Zoom us and we'll talk to you then. All right, see you in a minute.
I don't know if we paid for that. No.
Oh, he can still do that. Because nobody knows what he's doing.
And Fox College Hoops does use that song.
There you go.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they
I love
do.
that.
Basketball, if you ever
basketball. And I'm looking forward to baseball. So, as we have just about a minute or two. Oh, Papa Dot! Papa Dot, come on. Papa Dot, what you got?
He's cribbed his camera on.
Uh-oh. We got another
no, we
second
don't have
here.
a minute.
Oh, we
got
lost
a minute
him.
and 15 seconds left in the show.
Let's see what it looks like before he turns his camera on.
Pressure is on.
Papa Dot, on mute. Hey, what's going on? What's
All
going
right.
on?
What's going on?
Nice.
We got a minute in the
Did
show.
you see we were talking a little Pistons tonight.
Yeah, they doing good, but I'm still on that Leary stuff. How y'all was talking, they doing good. I'm kind of waiting till they get in the middle and see how strong they get. I don't want them like the Lions get up there and they go backwards.
It's understandable.
So
They've gone
by
so long.
March.
Yeah, by March Madness. If they doing what they doing, and I like how Michigan doing too. I like how Michigan doing too.
Yeah, right.
Strong.
So by my
good.
61st birthday, March 22nd, if the Pistons are still in first in the East, you're going to be a believer?
I'm going to be a believer.
All right.
I
love that. All right,
For
we only
sure.
have 15 seconds left. John Morton no longer with the Lions. I bet you happy about that? All right, he's frozen.
Yeah.
Thank you, Papa Dot. We'll talk to you tomorrow. We'll see you all here.